Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends, as this video is brought to you by drroto.com.
Good morning, everyone. It is College Football Game Plan with Coach White. I'm your host, Emrick, of course, joined by the star of the show, Coach White. He's the guy that's going to give us all the plays. Coach White, how you doing today?
Good, man. Excited for this week. Last week we missed a few good plays, so we're going to not tinker at the last second, Chris, and we're going to keep in Travion Henderson if he's on the slate this week.
Yeah, hey, absolutely. I mean, look, we made a compelling case as to why not, but then I saw that he got over 9 carries. The game was kind of close still, and I was like, man, this isn't going to go good. But there were quite a few other things that, just didn't go the right way. And, hey, that's just the way that it is sometimes. Yep. The week before you smashed on everything. Last week we missed on a few. This week we're going to smash on everything. That's kind of the plan, right?
That's it. Let's get after it, man. Let's smash.
All right, so let me get into this, and boom, here we go. So I've got 2 lineups that we're going to make today. Let's kind of just overview the slate. Tell me where we want to avoid, where we want to start, and then kind of let's get into it and put together a lineup.
Yeah, so this week we don't have as many high totals, but there are definitely some game stacking options. A few games I want to stay away from, though, would be the Purdue-Iowa game. Anytime Iowa's playing, I even said it last week, they played Penn State. It was a top 5 FBS teams. They just don't score enough. They're great defense. Purdue is a pretty solid defense as well, so that's going to be a defensive matchup. So that's the late game again with Iowa. We're crossing that one off.
Okay.
A game we're going to definitely look to stack is going to be the UNC. We got North Carolina playing against Miami. Last year, that game hit 90 points. And this year, we tried to attack North Carolina last week, but Sam Howell and Josh Downs, they got it going early and just couldn't finish against a bad Florida State team. I don't know. They were just very unmotivated in that fourth quarter. They go back to home against Miami, another Florida team. And I really think that that has some fireworks in it. Kentucky-Georgia's another cross-off game for me. Georgia's just beating teams handedly right now, and we can't trust either offense. They're very they spread the ball out too much, both of them, so we can't pinpoint plays in that. Kentucky's ranked 11th. Georgia's ranked number 1. It's going to be a good football game, but overall, crossing it off for fantasy goodness. Outside of that, every other game has some pieces I'm willing to attack. There's really only 2 cross-offs. There's quite a few fantasy options. We just need to find the right pieces to put together this week.
All right, well, let's start. Where are we looking for the first one? We're going to make 2 Main State lineups. We're going to make an afternoon lineup, and then we're going to put in a parlay and see what we can do today. So where am I starting? Are we starting on that UNC Miami? Is that the first place we're going to go?
We're actually going to start at Texas A&M at Missouri.
Okay.
So Missouri is one of the worst rush defenses I've ever seen, Chris. I'm telling you, you could drive a truck through the holes that every offensive line is creating for the running backs. So I love Isaiah Spiller at 6,600. Right now, you look at his fantasy points per game, and everybody around him has better points, plain and simple. But he has not played Missouri yet. This game, he has 4 touchdown potential. A couple weeks ago, we attacked Tyon Evans for Missouri. He went off for 150 and 3. Last week, Missouri played against a bad Western Kentucky team, got gashed. Isaiah Spiller's a smash play. I mean, there's no getting around that play this week. Honestly, they can run so well on Missouri. I like to play the backup with him. It's almost like a Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt 1-2 punch, and it's Devin Achane at 5,100. And in a lot of my lineups, to be different, I'm playing both, which you just don't see in college, especially when there's 12 games on the slate. I think it's extremely contrarian to just slam in both of your lineups. He's the type that get 13 touches but break off 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. So it's really up to you how you want to approach that. I'm locking in Spiller, but to be different, I love playing both.
And I think that's more of a large slate strategy. So, if you are playing the larger GPPs, we're talking 1,000 or more, definitely that's a strategy that you can employ to be different. I do agree with you from what I know about college football and what I've seen that there is, the potential for two players in the same position on the same team to be viable as they kind of split carries, especially, when teams are putting up 50, 60, 70 points, and that happens. In this particular lineup, I have 166 entries that I'm going against. So I don't think I need to get that different. So, what's another running back position player that I can put in here, maybe around the same price? Am I going to, Michigan State's Walker, or am I going somewhere else? I mean, this guy looks like he's been putting it up, albeit against some lesser competition.
Yeah, so Walker might be, especially in 144, you might get him at 100%, Chris. He was 8,000 the past 2 weeks and put up 34 points in back-to-back weeks. Now, for some reason, he goes against IU, who's not that great of a defense, and he dropped 1,400 in price. Everybody's on him this week. I can't lie, I'm on him too. I see him putting up 25 minimum with a chance at 35. There's no other running back in that Michigan State. It's not like Texas A&M where Spiller could end up, with 12 carries, 100 yards, and then A-Chain taking over. Walker is the guy. And that offense, we said it last week, runs through three players. Naylor, who we missed, Jalen Reed, and then Kenneth Walker. So I love Walker personally, and I think you can't go wrong with that play. It might be the chalk just completely worth eating this week.
All right, well then let's do that. Let's go ahead and eat the chalk right here. That's not a problem. Maybe we'll fade him in the other lineup to try and be a little bit different and hope he has a bad game, but we'll have exposure to him over here just in case. So now we've got a running back situation kind of wrapped up over here. Are we going to go to the quarterback and put together a QB wide receiver stack? Where are we going next?
Yeah, let's go to quarterback. So I have 4 quarterbacks I like on this slate, and we'll see what fits best. I mean, Sam Howell at the top for North Carolina against Miami is my number one play on the slate. He's got 100-yard rushing upside as well as 300-yard passing. So he's going to get the bonus somewhere. It could be on the ground, it could be in the air, but no matter what, he's going to put up probably 28 to 40 points in this matchup against Miami. Last year, though, North Carolina decided to use Michael Carter and the Javonte Williams tandem, and they ran for over 500 yards with those two backs. I mean, Michael Carter now for the Jets, Javonte Williams for the Broncos. So they crushed Miami on the ground last year. But Ty Chandler, their running back, is nowhere near as good as those two running backs. So I think they have to throw in this game. So Sam Howell and Josh Downs, if we can afford them, I know we're really pinching there on salary now, that would be my top 2 tandem of the day.
Okay, well, let's do it. Let's lock it in. So we've got Howell and Downs. We've got Spiller and Walker in this lineup. We're fading Walker over here, but I've already got Spiller put in because we need to, we need to have that. Maybe we go and get that backup from Texas A&M in the flex position if we need some salary because we're down to 4,700. So what other wide receivers do we have some value guys that we can turn to here?
Yeah, so 47. All right, so we are pretty low. So if we're going to look for value, look at Morales for North Carolina. He's actually their tight end, and he might be at 3K, I believe. So if you just type in Morales, M-O-R-L or A-L-E-S.
Yeah, I found him. Here he is.
Yeah, so 3K. So he's a tight end, and, he might only get 1 reception a game, but he's always a target in the red zone. And with Sam Howell, I really do think they're going to have to be different because everybody knows the ball's going to Josh Downs. So in the red zone, I think Morales is going to be that relief where he could catch 2 balls for 40 yards and 2 touchdowns. And at 3K, it's interesting. I don't love going down there personally. I don't think it's necessary, but for what salary we have left with the lineup we've built, I think it's in play for sure.
Okay, so we've got multiple players from UNC. We're obviously targeting this because we think that this game is going to score some points. So who can we run this back on or with from Miami? Are we going to go with Mike Harley? Are we going to go with Rambo? Can we go with this guy, Keyshawn Smith? I mean, where are we going to go here?
Yeah, so Miami, their quarterback, Derek King, excellent player, but he's out now with a ACL tear, gone for the season. So now we have Tyler Van Dyke at 6,900, the quarterback. And this new offense, they're going to try to pound the rock. I just don't think they're going to have success. So finding the pass option is going to be either Rambo or Harley. Those are going to be our best options as far as getting a bring it back spot, because if we think that North Carolina's putting up points, Miami's going to have to throw the ball. Van Dyke is not a rushing quarterback. He only passes. He's very subpar, but I think he can feed it to Harley and Rambo against a pretty poor UNC defense. So if I'm going to choose between them, contrarian would be Harley, Rambo would be higher owned, but neither will be above 20%.
Okay, so we've got that. Now we're going to need some more value here. Maybe we're going to have to adjust some things here, but we are into our flex and super flex, and we only have 4,600 left.
4,600. Oof. All right. So let's go to Peyton Hendershot. So we're going to play – actually, no, Anis Smith. Let's go to back to the Missouri-Texas A&M game. If we don't play A-Chain as running back, he is their number one wide receiver, and he's at 4,400. And we saw Tennessee a couple weeks ago go over the top 3 different times against this Missouri secondary. Anis Smith, what he does is he goes for these long streaking routes, and if we can get the quarterback to actually hit him on the long streak, that's what we're going to get for 4,400. So I like that play, especially with what we have. And if we're not playing A-Chain, Smith is my third in the Texas A&M offense. I just have A&M beating Missouri by 20 points in this matchup. I don't see Missouri standing a chance. So their points are going to come from somewhere, and I don't think all 5 rushing touchdowns are going to come from Spiller and A-Chain. So I like Smith to get a touchdown over the top.
All right, so let me ask you this. Now we've got 4,900. I've kind of zeroed in on a guy here. Going to get your opinion about it. I believe it's going to be a high-scoring matchup. We've got UCF going to Cincinnati, and we've got Ryan O'Keefe here at 4,800, who looks like he has a pretty considerable ceiling within this offense. A very real floor, it appears, but a ceiling nonetheless. And he's in that price range that we're looking for. I don't know if Jalen Robinson is still out.
Yeah, he is. Jalen Robinson's out. He's not expected to play. But the thing is with Ryan O'Keefe, Dylan Gabriel, USC's starting quarterback, is hurt. He didn't play last week, so you see the 10 for 73. That was with the backup. But that high total is not going to be a high total. People are wrong on that. I see Cincinnati smashing them because Dylan Gabriel just ran that offense. This backup quarterback is nowhere near that talent. Without Jalen Robinson playing, they're missing a star wide receiver, star quarterback, and it was an air raid offense. So you take away their 2 stars, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to flop. Cincinnati's going to smash them. I don't like anybody from that game unless I'm playing Ritter by himself at 8,100.
Okay. So then where am I going to go? I'm at 4,900, and the options look a little slim down here.
Yeah. Okay. So this is interesting. This is getting a little bit contrarian. Jack Tuttle, IU's quarterback. He's right there, 4,900. I actually see him right on your slate.
I see him.
Yep, right there. So he's only played 1 game under center, and it was against Penn State. It was a really good defense. Michael Penix just got injured. Jack Tuttle's taken over the job. Last year, Michael Penix threw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns against this Michigan State team. And we had a wide receiver for IU. His name is Ty Freifogel, who went 11 for 202 touchdowns against Michigan State. And he's at 5,300. So if we decided not to go with Mike Harley, that would be where I pivoted to. Down to 5,300, I would play Tuttle with him. And then we have Kenneth Walker on the bring back because we think Michigan State's going to be ahead running. IU would have to throw the ball. So that's one way to attack it. I've just never seen a quarterback at 4,900. And this Michigan State IU game is always higher scoring than people think. I could see, IU putting up 20 points and Tuttle getting 2 of those touchdowns. They just don't have a running game. They're not going to be able to run on Michigan State. They're going to have to throw the ball. They're going to be playing from behind. So I think it's super interesting. And we could get him at 3% ownership and a quarterback at 4,900. I think it's super interesting, man.
All right, let's do it. So we're going to lock this in. We're going to lock it in the way that we have it with Harley, with Tuttle, Smith, the whole 9 here. We're going to lock this one in, and this one is good to go.
All right. That's an interesting lineup, man.
For some reason, it's not letting – oh, I know why. Hang on. Because I timed out of the sports book is what happened.
Oh, you're good. Just as you're doing this, I'll kind of talk about some game totals, and we'll get to there. I know you're putting together some parlays and stuff as well, but first one is going to be putting in A&M -11 against Missouri. I'm just all over that game. I don't see how Texas A&M doesn't beat them by 15 plus points. I'm telling you, I've never seen a worse defense in college football. And I don't know what to say like about Missouri, how they're recruiting these players, but it's a terrible showing. And I could see A&M beating them possibly by 40 points. It's that bad. So at minus 11, that's a smash spot. If anybody's betting games, just hammer that one. And you can do that single and you're going to win. It's going to hit. I guarantee it.
All right. So now we've got our second lineup. We're putting it together. We've got Spiller. We're going to learn from our mistake from last week, or at least I am. And I feel like I centered in on O'Keefe, like I centered in on Naylor. Now I understand where you're saying he's probably not a good play. Maybe the whole game is not a good play, but I'm going to play O'Keefe. I'm going to play him so I don't run into a Naylor situation like last week. This is why I reserved 2 lineups, and we have that ability to do it. Now, you're saying that, do you think that Cincinnati is going to just absolutely run over UCF? Should I play somebody from the Cincinnati side of things, or should we look somewhere else and just, organically start to put together a stack for this particular lineup?
You can play Ritter, the quarterback, 8,100. I think it's a great spot. His floor is 20 points, and he's averaging about 25 a game. If Dylan Gabriel was in this and I knew that they would actually be scoring, I would love Ritter. It'd probably be my favorite quarterback on the slate. I just don't see UCF moving the ball. And the issue I have with O'Keefe is Cincinnati has the best cornerback in the entire FBS. He is literally held number 1 wide receivers and offenses to less than 1 to 2 catches a game. Like, it's incredible. I think he's given up 11 catches total through 6 games. He is going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL. It's hard for me, but they do move Ryan O'Keefe around to the slot, and the corner does stay on the outside. So I could see him finding a way to get creative and then finding a way to get O'Keefe the ball. But if he's matched up with that cornerback, you might end up with 1 point. He is that good.
All right. Well, hey, he's 4,800. He gives us a lot of other things that we can do. So we want Sam Howell in our lineup for the main lineup that we put together, the one that we just did. Where are we going this time? Is there another quarterback that you like? I know you said you like Ritter, but who else is out there?
We could always look to that IU game and go to Peyton Thorne on the opposite side. He's interesting, the Michigan State quarterback. And then we can pair him up with either Naylor or Reed. I know, like, every week it seems like one of those wide receivers just smashes. So they're right at 62 and 6,300. So it's kind of pick your poison. And you're going Jaden Reed this week. All right, get off that Naylor train. If he bites us again, that's going to suck, man.
So, I think we have to go back to, Tuttle at this point.
Yeah, right? Tuttle. And then, like I said, Freifogel, that would be the number 1 wide receiver. He's actually my favorite play this entire week, outside of Spiller for the running backs. Like I said, last year he put up 200, 2 touchdowns, and 11 receptions. I mean, that was with Michael Penix under center. But Jack Tuttle knows Ty Freifogel is the number 1 in this offense. They're going to feed the rock to him.
All right, so where are we going to go for a running back now? We got a flex and a running back. We've got 7,400. We can afford to get just about anybody. We are going to fade Walker here. We're hoping that this just becomes a higher scoring affair. That's why we've got Reed in there. Where are we going to go here? Or do we go to Walker anyway?
All right, so we have a few different options. We could think about if we put in Bijan Robinson all the way at the top. He's like the McCaffrey. So, you just kind of lock him in. He's going to get you 20 points, absolute minimum, and have 40-point upside anytime he steps on the field. But what does that leave us with? Because that's a dangerous price tag.
It leaves us with 5,900. So we have quite a bit. We can get down here, the top options that I'm looking at. And I don't know, you can tell me about these guys. We've got Romney. We've got from games that are scoring, Henderson from Florida doesn't look like he scores a ton. No, 5,900 is where we're at for our flex position. Okay.
All right. That's kind of a weird price tag this week. Can you get Treylon Burks? I don't think, I think he's at 66. Let's take out Robinson, and we're going to go to the flip side of that game and play Jalen Warren on the other side of the ball for Oklahoma State. He's at 7,100. He's getting 30 touches a game right now. And that Texas team was just absolutely crushed by Oklahoma's running Kennedy Brooks. He ran for over 225 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
So I like Jalen Warren at 7,100. And then what does that leave us with prior?
Man, that leaves us with 77. So we could get guys like Tay Martin, Alliger, Copeland, Worthy, Ford, or Bell. So we've got quite a few options here that look like they score quite well.
Yeah, so I'm going to go to the Xavier Worthy for Texas. Last week, he absolutely went off against Oklahoma. And their number one wide receiver, Jordan Whittington, the receiver, just got injured and is out for 3 to 4 weeks. So now Worthy's going to get more target. And if we just play the running back on one side, why not bring it back with wide receiver on the other? That game could definitely be high scoring, and we want to be part of that at some point in this day. So I like both those plays.
All right, so let's lock that in. Boom, good. Now we're going to do an afternoon one real quick here. This is a fight. We got Miami, UNC, Baylor, and BYU. And then I think this Virginia Tech, Pittsburgh, based off of what you've said earlier, you want to avoid this UK, Georgia, the Purdue, Iowa. So we've got the central 3 games here. We already got our exposure to Miami, UNC. Do you feel like we can get anything from this Baylor, BYU, or Virginia Tech, Pittsburgh?
Yeah, we're actually going to go to Bohannon. He's only at 6,300. Last week you had mentioned him. And he played a great game, and then he didn't go up in price. And BYU just lost to Boise State, and Hank Bachmeier's not a good quarterback. Boise State did run the ball well on them, but Bohannon's got the he's got rushing upside at quarterback as well. So he can run one in, and if he's going to throw it to anybody, it's going to be Tyquan Thornton at 5,200 for Baylor.
All right, so we've got that locked in. What are we running it back with from BYU?
We are not running it back.
Okay.
BYU, so if it would be anybody, it'd be the running back, Algier, but he's such a bruiser. He doesn't really have breakaway speed, and in college, you want the running back that's going to blast through the hole and get you a 60-yard touchdown. And he really just doesn't have that type of speed, especially against a fast Baylor defense.
So what running backs are we looking for then? We're not looking there. All these running backs are pretty cheap. Are we looking? Do we maybe go to the Purdue Iowa game just on the basis that we're in a smaller slate here?
Well, I would actually go back to the North Carolina and Miami game, and we have 3 different options here. So we have Ty Chandler, who is the UNC running back. He can catch passes. They just need to throw him the ball. Like last week, for some reason, they didn't give him a single target. But he's got good hands. He played for Tennessee before he went to North Carolina, and he was our receiving back. I just don't understand why North Carolina is not throwing in the ball. And like I said, last year, they gashed Miami for over 500 yards on the ground. And a couple of weeks ago, I targeted Brian Robinson against Ole Miss based on what they did last year against Ole Miss and ran for 5 touchdowns. So I think Ty Chandler's interesting at 6,300. And then even on the flip side, you have Cameron Harris. And then you also have Jalen Knighton, who is go all the way down, like 4,400, 4,700. There he is. So he only played 1 game. He just came back from an injury. But he actually saw more carries than Jalen Knighton, but he had a fumble in a crucial point in the game, and they ended up benching him. But in his first game, he saw 15 carries on his way back, and that's a super cheap price. If we think that game's going to go off, and we get a running back like him who has breakaway speed against North Carolina, I think it's an awesome play.
Okay, let's lock him in. Now we've got quite a bit of money. We're at 6,900. We're into the wide receiving situation. Or is there another quarterback on this slate that we can just lock into our super flex right now?
If we're looking at quarterback, not really. Kenny Pickett is interesting against this Virginia Tech. The only thing that scares me is Pittsburgh going to Virginia Tech. But they have such a air raid offense. He's throwing the ball like 35 times a game. I really like Kenny Pickett, actually. And I think that's a sneaky upside offense that people are forgetting about this week. If we can afford it, Addison's a smash play, but that's a really high-priced duo there. I think that's 16,000 of our salary used between those two.
Well, we've got 5,600 right now. We can run it back with somebody from this Virginia Tech, offense that is not very expensive, and so it kind of evens it out. How do you feel about Robinson or Trey Turner?
Yeah, it would be Turner. Turner would be the guy I'd run it back with. Robinson's the kind of reception guy. Turner's the big play guy. But what they do with Turner is they'll rush the ball with him, do some jet sweeps. He's their gadget player as well. So I like Turner. That's a good play.
Okay, and then we can run it back, in the Miami UNC game with our boy Rambo if we wanted to. But there are a couple other options. We're at 6,200, so we've got a top option of like Zamir White. Doesn't look like that's a good one. A couple other options. What do you think about the guys in this price range? I know that it was kind of weird on the earlier slate, so maybe we do kind of reevaluate that Turner play and see if we can get somebody cheaper. But this is kind of where we're at, 6,200 for our flex position at the current time.
Okay. I do like Rambo at 61. I mean, that fits well, especially I think we used Harley in our other lineup. I mean, I don't know if we want to like fight against each other on these lineups if we want one to go off and not the other. I don't know how you feel about that, but Rambo is, I mean, that way you're covering your bases and both their main pass catchers. But also you have Tazir Mack for Pitt at 54 if we left some salary on. And that way we have Pickett and Addison and Mack, and those are the top that he's the number 2 in that Pittsburgh passing offense. So if for some reason Addison gets blanketed in double coverage, that opens up Tazir Mack to get over the top.
All right, well, let's do that. We've got that kind of stack there. We've got this single stack coming back, and we're good. We're good. We've got that lineup in. Now it's time to go put in this parlay.
That's it, man.
All right, so we said, what was the first one that we were going to? This Texas A&M Missouri game? Was that the one that you said?
Yep, smash it. I don't care if it's above 11 now. They're gonna beat them by 15 to 20 points.
Okay, so that's one. Now you said the UCF Cincinnati game. It's at 56.5. You think that's going to be under that one, or is that not a spot we're going to go to?
Can you parlay numbers and over unders? I don't think you can do that, can you?
Yeah, you can.
Can? Okay. No, I'm not really targeting that one because I could see Cincinnati scoring 40 and then UCF scoring 17, and it's like, oh wow, I hit the over somehow.
Okay,
no, I'm good on that. Texas Tech beating Kansas. They were at 18.5. If that game's on there, I definitely love that. Kansas is just a terrible football program, and Texas Tech is a super fast-paced offense. So beating them by 19 is.
I got 17.5.
It's even better. Yeah, smash that. I love that.
Okay.
NC State beating Boston College. They were at -3 at Boston College. That's the evening game. So my last two are going to be evening games.
All right. We're looking.
NC State, there it is, all the way at the top of your screen.
Got it.
I like NC State there. I think they're a better program. A little bit of issues with them being at Boston College at night, but I think North Carolina handles business. And then Ole Miss beating Tennessee. I had them at +2.5. I hate going against my own team, but
I got it as a pick 'em. So.
Oh wow, yeah, that's. Ole Miss wins that game. Tennessee's just not – they're not the program to beat good teams yet. We're getting there. We're just not there yet.
All right. We need one more.
One more. Ooh, I only had 4. Okay. Let's see. Call some out, man. If there's anything that looks interesting, ask some questions. I can't really see all of that.
What about the Michigan State -4 versus Indiana, or Florida -12.5 versus LSU? Both of those teams are on the road, however.
Yep, I like Michigan State. I think once they get up, if my game plan and game theory is correct, that Jack Tuttle and Ty Freifogel are going to have to pass the whole game to recover what Kenneth Walker has done to them on the ground.
All right, so we're going to go with a 50% profit boost. Probably can only, well, let's see. We'll throw this here. It's going to tell me that this is not a proper bet and that I have to. Okay, so here we go. Let's try it. Let's go with the profit boost. Max wager. Okay, so I can only do $22. That's cool. Whatever. That's all right. So we got that. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and throw a free bet on it. Okay, that works. And then we're going to then also grab each of these individually just so one leg of that parlay doesn't kill us.
I love it.
Either the parlay will kill us, or all legs are going to have to fail for us to fail here. All right. Well, hey, I've got that. So we're all set. Do you have any final thoughts or anything else you want to talk about in terms of this particular slate or anything in general?
I'm good. I was just looking at my sheet and seeing if there's any game stacks I missed. And I think we covered it all. Let's get after it. If there's any late breaking news, Dr. Roto fans, come on over to Discord and I will give you all the information you need.
All right. Well, fantastic, guys. Hey, it's been a pleasure again. It is week 7, the college football game plan. If you want the exact article, all the plays that we talked about today and so much more, go over to drroto.com, hit the subscribe button, come into the Discord. You can talk with Coach White throughout the games. He's, tilting them the entire time for the bet, for good or for bad. It doesn't matter. He's in there. He's talking about it, but you also get that late breaking news. And then, you can join us for other aspects of the site. Like tomorrow, we've got our 10:30 start sit show with Dr. Roto himself. I will be hosting that, and we'll be going over some DFS as well. And just a lot of other things that are posted in there. So check it out. But for Coach White, I'm Chris Emrick. Thank you so much for watching.